Okay. So you might see it says recording there. So just, it is what it is. I shared that video at the beginning, how can I keep from singing? Because I've been thinking about that song a lot. Hey, I love it. It's one of my favorites. And of course, we're trying to figure out worship in this new age, which has just kind of flashed upon us like lightning, you know? And now as we are thinking about reopening, and we're just thinking about it church-wise, I've been making some, I said this actually on the comment on the video, I've been making peace with the intellectual idea that we can worship without singing. But when I heard the singing, when I heard voices coming together, when I heard harmony, when I heard excellence, when I heard instruments that I wouldn't have put together, when I heard all that coming together, that's the first time that I think I allowed some of the current thing to really hit me in the heart. And I think I've shared, you know, I've been struggling with a little bit of just blues and all that stuff. I think a lot of people are. The other thing that occurred to me about that is that, you know, I often talk about my faith being formed in the church, and that's certainly true. But the other part of my faith was formed in the choir loft, both in high school and in church, in college certainly, that I found something profoundly beautiful and divine about breathing together with other people, right? And that's what singing is. You're breathing together with other people to make a sound that is beyond you, that is beyond anything I could do by myself. So when I hear this rendition of how can I keep from singing, I feel lots of things. First of all, I'm reminded of where my faith comes from. And I'm conflicted because singing is one of those things that we may have to hold off. If we're holding off on graduations and birthdays and things like that, one of those singing might be one of those things that for the sake of others, right? It's one of those prohibitions that for the sake of others we may have to curtail. And that question of how can I keep from singing feels more like a lamentation than anything resolute in me right now. How can I keep from singing? Well, I know one reason, but really the question for me is how can I keep my wits? How can I keep my sanity? How can I keep my faith if I can't sing and sing with other people? It's one of the reasons I moved my chair from the chancel area down to just sit with you all, because I like you are good singers and I want to sing with you all. And it's one thing I'm missing. This scripture from Acts, it's a strange scene. Paul is going through Athens, and he's a big shot evangelist, and he knows he's got Jesus in his heart and in his mind, and he's going to share that with the world. And he goes to Athens and he sees all of these shrines, right? And as the story as we heard, the story goes, a shrine to a God yet unknown. And Paul's like, oh, I know, I'm the one who knows. Trust me. Let me tell you about this one. And most of the time, I don't hear this scripture preached a lot, but when I have, it's always been about knowing Jesus and things like that. But there's this other thing that I really picked up on. And this part about people groping around trying to find God, and the notion or the image being that, like, and this is obviously Paul would know this firsthand because he was blinded by the light, right, on the road to Damascus. So when Paul talks about people groping around, you get the sense of like in the dark and trying to feel their way to find God. And of course, the allegory of the cave, the Athenians would understand the allegory of the cave. Socrates, Plato, the allegory of the cave being like, okay, people just live in a cave of ignorance and they don't even know it. And they see these little images and they think that's reality. And the real reality is behind them. And we got to help people get out of the. I'm back. Am I still recording too?
Yes, you are.
It says it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a strange video because it totally kicked me out. I was telling my friend back east, he's a pastor in New Jersey, and he had posted this morning that things are going crazy with Zoom. I was like, well, God bless the people at Zoom. The whole world hit them with need all of a sudden. And, this is like week 10 or 11 doing it this way. And God bless them that this is like the first time anything like this happened. So anyhow, I don't remember where I was. I think I was saying people groping around. And maybe that's how you feel. That's kind of how I feel. Groping around the garage. But the good news, this is something about a sermon. You have trouble in the text. You have trouble in the world. You have grace in the text. You have grace in the world. So even if you get lost, next time you're preaching, if you ever get lost, just think about those 4 things and you'll find your way to a message. The grace in the text is that people are groping around, looking for God and acting all lost. But the grace, the good news, God is near. And I hope that in all things, whatever happens with this pandemic, that that as we're groping around, that we can realize that God is near. This is the one in whom we live and move and have our being. The one that's given me life and breath and purpose and everything else. And maybe that's how the singing will resume, with the recognition that God is around us and life is scary and life is real, and sometimes we are groping around, but how can we keep from singing if we know this good news? Maybe I can't sing in the same room as you for a while, but we have to keep on singing. We have to keep on singing praises to God. We have to keep on sharing the good news and God's sightings. We have to keep on sharing our joys and concerns. We have to keep on sharing that which is God. Well, maybe I had a grand conclusion, but that got messed up in the disruption. And I'm really hoping this recording does not include all the 4-letter words I shared when all the bad things happened. So anyhow, thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Thanks for listening. We'll stop the recording now.